Welcome everybody to the GamerKulture Show, episode 35. What are we calling this one again? This is highlighting the highlights. Another amazing title by Wildcard, and I don't say that sarcastically. He's been pretty good with the titles. Today is Friday.
It's terrible, and you know it. Don't even bother hiding it.
It's literally the first thing he thought of, and I was like, "Fuck it, go with it."
I'm terrible at titles, so I don't suggest any titles ever.
Today is Friday, April 14th, 2017. GamerKulture is the drive, passion, and dedication to all things in gaming by the Grand Geek Gathering. The ever-changing world of GamerKulture involves communities of all types, the evolving industry that surrounds us, and the people who use it for the betterment of all. Now on to Character Select. Who is with me today?
I mean, we're kind of the same guests as always, so... Are we even considered guests at this point, rather than just co-hosts?
The usual.
Yeah.
No, we got Bookworm, we got Wildcard, and I'm Kuma. Hey, everybody. Alright, so like we said on highlighting the highlights, we're going to be talking a little bit about some of the stuff that's kind of come out over the past week. We're going to be talking about reboot rumors, we're going to be talking about Overwatch, going to be talking about Battlefront, and then we're going to end on VRLA, which GamerKulture is going to be at tomorrow. So, starting off, did you guys hear about the BioWare rumor about KOTOR getting a reboot?
Yep.
I heard about it, and yeah, I'm kind of excited because I wasn't really into video games at the time when KOTOR came out, so I didn't get to play it when it first came out, so I'm just kind of excited if it comes out again, personally. Because I've played it now.
It's not going to be the same game, though. It's a reboot.
Still.
Card, you played quite a bit of KOTOR, right?
I played a lot. I actually played the second one on stream.
That's right. I remember watching you do that.
I don't remember playing the first one. I played a lot of it, and I loved the series. You were revving the whole time. Oh, sorry, spoilers.
Well, yeah, whatever.
It's almost like 10
How old
years
is that game?
Like 10 years old.
Yeah.
More than that.
Yeah, more than that.
Yeah, it was a great story, great characters. The combat systems were a little weak in it. The second one helped out with that. The main problem with the first one was that you hit the level cap of 20 relatively early on, and then that's it for character progression. If you messed up your character, you messed up.
That's a little rough, yeah. Having 20 as your level cap and having the ability to hit it really early on really does suck. They should have spaced that out a little better. I've tried to get into KOTOR. I honestly have tried. The first time I did it, I didn't understand what I was doing. I don't think I made it off the ship into Terrace. The second time I got to Terrace, was playing for probably a couple hours, was actually enjoying myself, and then I ran into a room where this bounty hunter chick was like, don't come into my room. I'm going to mess you up if you do. I'm like, well, whatever, you NPC. I take a couple steps forward. She's like, hey, what did I just say? Get out of my room or else there's going to be trouble. And I'm like, all right, yeah, let me loot your shit and I'll get out of here. I step a little further into the room and she destroyed me.
You see, I came across that.
And I hadn't saved in about an hour and a half. And I stopped playing after that. So it's cool to play because I've played the MMO and the Old Republic, so it's cool to see stuff, kind of see things in reverse. So people that played the MMO are like, oh, I remember that from KOTOR, and then I play KOTOR and I'm like, oh, that's in the MMO, but it was still so frustrating that I just never gave it another shot.
I still have it. I haven't finished it. It's kind of one of those games I come back to, but I always know exactly where I was when I left, so it's not a big deal for me to come back to it. And I do want to beat it someday. Of course, I already know the ending about Revan and all that, but
where were you when you stopped playing?
Near the beginning, around Terrace.
That's it? You didn't even get the meat of the game.
I got off of at least I got off the ship.
Endar Spire.
Thank you. It's been a while, but I do own both KOTOR 1 and KOTOR 2. It's just like life got in the way. But I remember when I bought it too, because they were doing a sale on like all Star Wars games on Steam, and I bought like a bunch of them because it was a really good sale.
You know what? I need to finish streaming that game.
That'd be really cool to see. Now,
yeah, I remember I was doing an interesting, like a different build with it too.
What were you doing again? I forget.
It was a dexterity constitution build that focused on lightsaber combat.
Okay.
Nice.
Usually when you do lightsaber combat, you focus on strength to hit. I was doing a finesse style thing, so I would be dodging a lot, and even if they hit me, I had a high constitution. And I took finesse lightsabers so that I could use my dexterity bonus to hit instead of strength.
So you were like a lightsaber rogue.
Yeah.
That's really neat. I like that.
Yeah,
the whole game is a watered down D&D 3.5.
I really need to finish it because it's the one BioWare series I haven't actually finished, and I love that game company. So I really just need to finish it, and I could definitely see the feel there. So,
see, I would, if I was going to play the game, I'd play it through first the way everyone does as a Jedi, and then I would want to play through it again, but just completely ignore the Jedi side of it and try and just go like smugglery. Because I remember getting shit because when I first started playing the Old Republic, the MMO, I was playing with a friend of mine, and he went Jedi like everyone and their mother did. I played a smuggler, and it was really rare to see smugglers going around. I actually saw more troopers than I saw smugglers.
Represent.
Cough, wildcard, cough. But
I remember that was like our game at the beginning of GamerKulture, and we had DA and like a whole bunch of people with us.
Yeah, and we tried to get people into it. And honestly, like if we could, I would be like, let's start a GamerKulture guild. I would quit WoW to get back into the Old Republic. I love Star Wars that much.
I wouldn't recommend the Old Republic though, because it does have a high barrier of entry.
It does, and it sucks. Well, okay, now if you start the game, you can get a free 65.
That's
the new level cap is 66 to 70.
I have completely different reasons for barrier of entry.
See, for me, I hate that initial grind because I've done it so much. Mm-hmm. I've leveled almost every character to max. So I've seen all the stories, which means I've played through all the planets. And anyone who's played the game knows whenever you get to a planet, there's two quests going on. There's two stories. There's your character story, so your class story, and then there's the planetary story. So, say as a Jedi warrior, you get to the planet, and actually, you know what? I forget that. Let's say as the trooper, you get to Terrace, and you're trying to track down one of your estranged Havoc Squad teammates who went rogue during your tutorial planet. So that's your story on that planet. You're trying to track down the guy who's here. But the planetary story is you're investigating the Rakghouls who have kind of taken over this swamp planet. And that's great the first one or two times you do it. After your fourth character, it's a little rough.
Yeah. Well, what I mean by barrier of entry is it's a $60 game, and they still want you to have a sub fee of $15 a month.
Yeah,
there's that too. You can play without it, but
yeah, anyone who's never played Old Republic, there's three kind of like levels of it. There's three levels of like what kind of a person you are. There's the you mean nothing to us.
Yeah, there's the bottom two, which are shit, and then there's the sub.
So there's the sub, which means you get everything, you have full access to everything, it's good. There's bottom tier, which is free to play, which is you have severely limited access to things. You still have to buy the game, but with no sub, you can be like, all right, I can do like two or three.
I don't think you have to buy the game anymore. I think you just have to subscribe.
No, because we're talking about not having to subscribe. It's the free to play.
Yeah. You don't have to buy the game anymore.
News to me, but yeah, the free to play is you get basically just do whatever, but you can only have like a certain amount of money After that, it goes into an escrow, so the game remembers how much money you've earned, but you can't access it until you go subscription. But then there's the middle tier, which is called preferred status, where you get access to a little more stuff, and you can have a little more money, but you can only go up to a certain, like, you can't access the current expansion content. And again, you can only have like a certain amount of credit. I think you can only have up to 500,000 credits, which is an okay amount, but by the end of the game, you're rocking close to 1 million, 2 million, and that's if you aren't even really trying.
This is all off topic.
It is completely off topic.
To go even more off topic, if we were going to do a GamerKulture MMO, kind of like guild thing, I'd recommend either Guild Wars 2 or WildStar.
Probably WildStar. I've had my fill of Guild Wars. We played a lot of that for a while. Going back to the point, so with the KOTOR reboot, what would you want to see in the reboot? Would you want, because for me, and I'll even be the one to answer first, what I think is the coolest concept or the coolest thing that would come out of a reboot is being able to recanonize a lot of things that are no longer canon.
Yeah. Yep.
So we have the barest hints. We keep, and it's so frustrating for me and Card, keep having the barest hints of canonization for Revan. And according to Squeaky, we were having some lag issues, frame freezes, and audio going on and off. Card, any clues on that?
Like, OBS is giving me green the whole time. Should be at 30 frames per second.
All right, she's on her iPad. She says she's going to jump to her computer. Anyway, we had the cartoon has almost added Revan, almost added the Ghost of Revan, and they canceled it.
It was at the very end of Clone Wars, Season 6, the last episode. That's when they canonized Darth Bane, which, yay.
Yeah.
And they almost canonized Revan. It was supposed to be Darth Bane and Revan. They couldn't finish the Revan model in time for the episode.
Because they released pictures of it. That's so frustrating. And then in Force Awakens, in the visual encyclopedia that they released, there is a reference to
Malachor
a reference,
the Scourge of Malachor.
Scourge of Malachor, who was Revan. Revan was the Scourge of Malachor. In
Star Wars Rebels, they go to Malachor.
Yeah.
And there's a Sith temple there that is also in the Old Republic.
They've all but said Revan is canon.
They mentioned Dantooine many times in Star Wars Rebels.
To be fair, they mentioned Dantooine in Star Wars as well.
Dantooine or Tatooine?
Dantooine. Princess, well, not many times, but Leia in New Hope, when they're trying to figure out, or when they're interrogating her on where the rebels are, she says Dantooine. They're on Dantooine.
Okay.
But I think that's the only time they mention it. They've gotten so close to making Revan canon, and they keep just barely not doing it. So if they were able to reboot it, not only would we get Revan most likely, but a ton of other lore could be basically reintroduced as being canon. Which would be really cool.
I mean, in my mind, it's already canon. I mean, you can say whatever you want. It's canon to me.
They've been doing a good job about taking the best bits of the original lore and making it canon again, like Admiral Thrawn.
Yeah.
But it would just be nice to just get a final Disney stamp of approval on it. But what about you guys? What would you be excited about for a reboot?
I want updated visuals. That's it.
I wouldn't. That's kind of what I was going to say. I would like updated visuals from what I played, but also just a chance to work out, because this is one of BioWare's very early games, so they were still trying to work out kinks in combat and stuff like that, and I would just maybe fix some of those things. The things that were kind of...
Combat could use a revisit.
Yeah, just the things that were, kind of janky.
Because...
And that's all I would want. Really, that's all I would want.
Honestly,
so you want the same game, just updated.
The combat came down to spam flurry. That's all it was.
Exactly.
Just spam flurry all the time. You don't have to hit anything else. Just dual-wield lightsabers, get crystals in all of them, and then just spam flurry.
I'm thinking, okay, so regardless of how the Mass Effect Andromeda shit has gone down, I'm thinking like those kind of graphics and combat that's in Mass Effect Andromeda, and not necessarily the face animations, but the graphics.
Hey, they fixed the face animations for the most part.
I've seen it. But, you know, I'm just thinking those kinds of graphics and the new combat in a KOTOR reboot would be really nice.
Okay. Now, what would you guys say if I told you this whole thing was probably not true?
I would say you're a goddamn liar, because this has been teased many times over.
So, as of April 11th, Liam Robertson, who was the original contact for this, he has a YouTube channel called The Game History Guy, explained to Kotaku that he doesn't believe KOTOR is a current project. And I'll read an entry here. He says, "Gonna hold my hands up here. I think I just misheard some of the Austin stuff when I was talking on my Skype. When I was talking on Skype, the Austin being the Austin BioWare team that handles all the Star Wars stuff now. When I was talking on Skype, I may have misspoken there. There's also the element that I had no notes in front of me and just sort of rambled on from memory. I did not expect these view select statements to blow up. I'm used to having the opportunity to just release follow-up notices on the Patreon with any updates and corrections. My bad. Let me clarify that I don't think KOTOR is a current project. From the same people I learned about what I don't know what that's referring to. I did hear that they prototyped a KOTOR revival at Austin a while back. I believe it may have evolved into something else since then, or fizzled out since then. I'm still confident Austin is doing something Star Wars related, though, and I'm confident in that. I actually did know that they were contributing towards, again, Dylan, I don't know what that's about. Since I originally found out...
Alright, you may say that, a mistake. But I also know for a fact that there is a fan revival of KOTOR.
That you are correct. That is, and let me look that up because I had that open and then closed it. KOTOR reboot. Apiron?
I don't know.
I don't know how you pronounce it. Who's working on it? It's Home Studios and fans. It's going to be free. They think it's legal.
Yeah, Disney owns the license to that, so it's probably not legal.
Well, so this was Apiron. This was a couple years ago, I want to say. It says, "Is this legal? We believe so. Can you make a Star Wars game? Engine refresh of games has been around since the 80s, and some have become very successful. Games like Black Mesa did it with Half-Life and Renegade X, rebuilt Command & Conquer and the Unreal 3. Full conversion. That being said, you will have to own a copy of the original to play Apiron, since we are using the..." and there it probably goes on somewhere else.
They're probably using the combat engine. It's probably going to be a mod for the original. That's what they're going to label it.
That's what it sounds like.
That's how they're going to get away with it. It would have to be a mod, and the only reason is because that's how Black Mesa got through. It was a mod, and also because Valve is a little bit more generous with that. But if they try to release it as a game, Disney's going to put a stop to that real quick, probably.
Yeah. So hopefully they can get away with it as a mod. It's a shame that these were basically offhand comments that were made based on rumors from misheard information. But hey, hopefully we can. My voice is starting to go out.
Just gotta be patient. It will be coming.
It's still possible that it could be on the back burner, but it's probably not. With Disney owning the license, they're probably like, "Hey, we want to make Star Wars games, and we'll approve this, but you got to make this game that we want first." Not that I know there's another Star Wars game in the works, but I'm guessing they're going to want to do updated stuff from the new movie trilogy before they even touch a KOTOR reboot. Just looking from Disney's perspective, in my opinion.
I agree with you.
Probably.
All right, let's move on to the next headline here, and this is going to be Overwatch related. So anyone who plays Overwatch or follows anything that they do, anything that they do on social media knows that they just came out with their new mode, their new event, Uprising. So Overwatch Uprising is an event that takes us back to a moment in history that shows Lena Oxton, aka Tracer's, first outing on a mission with Overwatch. We know that in King's Row in London, humans and Omnics are just starting to build these foundations of trust and community, and a rogue terrorist group called Null Sector, all Omnics, rises up and just turns the place into a war zone.
It makes
You're right. It makes no sense. And it's definitely like a terrorist. It's almost kind of
how can there be a robot terrorist group?
Well, okay. I will say this. It reminds me a lot of Mass Effect, because if you remember, there were two sects of Geth, and one of them decided to work with the Reapers, and the other one said, no, the Reapers are bad news, we're not going to join you. And basically, the way Legion explained it, it was that both of them came to different conclusions. He was basically saying the answer was 4, but they had found different equations on how to get there.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's possible if you think about it that way. I know that's applying Mass Effect lore to, Overwatch lore, but that's how I figured it out.
I mean, I looked at it as kind of, like I said, it's kind of ISIS-y, where they don't care. They don't want the two factions to exist in peace. They want them to hate each other. So even though the Omnics are like, there's these communities of Omnics that are being helped by this union, Null Sector says, no, we want there to be war, we want there to be strife, we don't want humans and Omnics living together, we want Omnics to reign supreme. So we find ourselves on a mission. There's 2 modes. You can either play as any hero you want, or you can play as the story crew, which is Reinhardt, Mercy, Torbjorn, and Tracer. And you are being spoken to over headsets by Soldier, Anna, and Reyes. We would eventually know him as Reaper. And it's basically going to different points, holding those points against wave of enemy Omnics, and then eventually escorting a payload to an endpoint. Hopefully you guys can't hear that.
I can totally hear it.
All right. And it is rough. Is it me, Wildcard, and Card's roommate Blake? Us and a rando played it, and it is rough.
I have a complaint about that, by the way, because I was playing today, because I have the day off for once, and I just decided to take a break. And Torbjorn, our person playing Torbjorn, lost his internet or something, because he just dropped.
Oh, no.
He freaking dropped. And I don't know if this is a glitch, or this is how it's supposed to be, but nobody replaced him, and we were at the 3rd checkpoint, and I was Mercy. So I was healing these 2 people. We didn't have a turret, and I'm just healing them, and I'm like, I'm so sorry, guys. At one point, I had to switch to the stupid little gun Mercy has, and I'm just killing robots. I'm like, this is the only way we're gonna do it.
Yeah. It's really hard, because you've got the basic unit, which is just a little dude with a gun. You've got the slicers, whose specific job is to deal damage to the
payload,
basically the bomb that you're trying to deliver. You've got the I forget what they're called, but they're like shield dudes, is what we call them, who take an absolute pounding on that shield. But if you can kill them before it goes up, they're really not all that tough.
Tracer's really good for that, because you can go behind it and shoot its head.
She's also really good at, there's Bastion units who behave just like Bastions.
Tracer's blink actually confuses the robot and stuns them for a couple seconds.
Mm-hmm.
That's really cool. I didn't notice that.
Yeah.
You've got, eventually, once you get towards the end, you've got Orisa units, like OR-15s or whatever they're called. And then you also have big bomb dudes who you need someone with a push or a knockback, or, like Reinhardt, his charge. Because if those bombs get near the payload, they deal a ton of damage.
Mm-hmm.
But I brought it up because I think this is a really good step towards Overwatch putting in some kind of story or campaign mode.
I think what they do is really clever, because for most of the time they've been releasing a lot of story either through hints in the game itself or
through comics,
like little
cutscenes.
Little comics or the cutscenes. And it's extremely clever how they do it, because it's clear that they've got a lot more world building than I think people think they do. and they just released little snippets of it, just to kind of like, here's some info, but we still want to keep you interested, so here's some mystery to it as well. And it's super brilliant.
Yeah, I agree. I love their world building.
I don't think Overwatch will ever have a campaign.
Yeah, I don't either.
It doesn't need it.
I think you're right. I think they'll never do it, and then it doesn't need it. I think they'll never do it because, number one, there's no reason to give us a huge story all at once, like when you can just release it in snippets as events.
Mm-hmm.
That's a much better business model, especially when you can flavor skins and emotes and all kinds of like the sprays. There's so many sprays in this for this event if you get them out of the boxes. Mm-hmm. I love that the boxes change to the event ones, even if you don't buy them. But it's a really good marketing tool to not split them up. I think it would be really cool. I don't expect them to actually do it though. To actually come out with like a cohesive story mode campaign. Not
in this game. I would never see them doing it in this game, and not anytime soon if they ever did.
I mean, if they did, you'd probably be hero swapping multiple times per mission. It would be the game swapping on its own. It would be incredibly on rails because that's how it would have to be. And it wouldn't really be anything monumental unless they do like, oh, we're releasing a Fall of Overwatch campaign.
I could see them doing like maybe a spin-off game about maybe a character who's really popular, kind of like what they did with StarCraft, or at least tried to do with StarCraft to some extent. But I don't think we'll ever get like a full, like if there's going to be in a few years, because this is not going to be anytime soon, if there's going to be, an Overwatch 2, it's still going to be the same style, just maybe different.
You know what?
If they're going to do a spin-off game, go ahead.
I expect an Overwatch TV show before an Overwatch campaign.
Yeah, I would say that's true. Or a web series.
Yeah.
Like an actual, like...
God, that would be awesome.
Right?
You know what I would love to see? I would love to see a 2D side-scrolling Overwatch in the design of all their pixel sprays.
Oh, that would be fun. That'd be like a minigame?
Yeah, just like this little fun extra game that they put together, make it kind of like Metal Slug style or something. I think that would be a lot of fun. I mean, come on. Riot came out with the Blitzcrank grab game, where you have to run across the screen and grab up poros, and then at the end of every level there was a boss that there was actually mechanics that you had to follow to beat. Like if Riot could come out with that as a mobile game, Blizzard could absolutely come out with something that was that style of game.
If anything, we're definitely going to get more single-player stuff, because every time they release, not necessarily single-player, I meant like world-building campaign kind of stuff.
PvE.
PvE, thank you. We're going to get more like that, just because every time they release a comic, every time they release a short, pretty much their whole fan base goes crazy. And people who don't even play the game regularly, like, I don't like going on my Tumblr because it's cesspool, but people who are in that fandom don't even play the game, and they love just following the characters around in the comics. So there's definitely going to be more PvE stuff in the future, I would think, because it just seems to be getting more popular.
Here's looking to it, because they've proven twice now that PvE in Overwatch works really well.
Yeah, it does.
Especially if you can like balance it around 4 characters that like. These are the 4 characters that are going in on this mission, and it's balanced around that fact. You can play other people, but it's going to be harder.
Or with the new custom games tool, people have set up an asymmetric games of boss battles. Like think of a Reinhardt with 5,000 HP and like he like 50% damage resist against 4 other players.
It's like a raid.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They basically set up a raid. It's awesome.
That's really good. I really like that. I haven't played on a lot of those because every time I go into the custom games, it's all the people having like the roleplay servers.
Oh god.
Oh man, I have to go check that out now.
Dude, it's like Big Daddy Reinhardt getting hooked by Roadhog. And
Oh,
like,
God.
no joke, like 4 Roadhogs and 1 Diva getting passed around, like with hooks, and I'm just like, all right,
Hey,
guys, come on.
No judging, no hate.
Look, no kink shaming, but what the fuck?
Why are you judging?
I'm not judging.
Yes, you are.
I'm just judging. No hate. I just think you're disgusting. No. Do whatever you want. It's a private game.
I think my favorite custom game that I've seen, that I didn't play myself, but I saw it on YouTube or somewhere, where Mercy is making a jump rope and having people jump rope with their...
I've seen that, and it's hilarious.
It's hilarious. So...
all right. Next topic we've got here is we've got Battlefront 2 news. Hooray! Star Wars news.
Hey.
So we've got the Star Wars celebration going on right now, celebrating 40 years of Star Wars.
Is this weekend like the weekend that it originally came out 40 years ago? Is that
Wild card? That is an excellent. Star Wars.
Like, I don't really fully understand the whole reason for this weekend. I thought it was May 4th. That was Star Wars Day.
No, that's just May the 4th, because May the 4th be with you.
Yeah.
The original release date for Star Wars: A New Hope was May 25th, 1977.
Okay, that makes a lot more sense now. Wait.
But
May 25th?
May 25th, yeah.
So what's so special about this weekend?
That's just when they decide to have it. It's 40 years of. It's kind of like how, Disney had their 60-year thing, and it technically lasts a year. So we were still celebrating it at the beginning of this year, even though it's not 61 years now, guys. I don't know if anyone told you that, but anyway, we've got Battlefront 2 news. So anyone who knew when Battlefront first came out, what was the loudest complaint about Battlefront 1?
No single
The
player.
heroes suck.
No single player.
I mean, you're actually both correct. You were both absolutely correct. Bookworm had the answer I was fishing for, but Wildcard just makes my soul hurt because he's correct. Because God, the characters were bad. The heroes were so bad. We're getting a Battlefront 2 with a story mode. So
It's gonna be a shitty 6-hour-long story mode.
So was the original, and I still loved it. Actually, the story mode in Battlefront 2, I loved the fuck out of. Playing as a nameless clone in the 501st.
Yeah.
Was really cool. Because in the original, the campaign was you start out as a droid, then you play as a clone, then you play as a stormtrooper, then you play as a rebel. And you just go through like the different eras. But we're getting a single-player campaign. It's going to be taking place between the events of Endor in Return of the Jedi, and it's going to end right where the story picks up in Force Awakens. The thing I think is really cool is that we're getting a female Imperial soldier that we're going to be following. Is what it looks like, and she's very well. We've got to fight for the fallen Emperor. We've got to avenge the Emperor. So it's like, okay, I'm down to see like the other side.
Hilarious. This would be hilarious. It'd be totally troll, but it would be hilarious. They tease like, oh, it's a single player. It'll be just as good as the Star Wars movies. And it's 2.5 hours long. All cutscene. It's literally a movie.
It's just a CGI movie.
Yeah.
Movie. They're like, lol. Enjoy your campaign, assholes.
I would honestly laugh so hard because there would be so much fan wink. It would be amazing. So.
There would be. You're correct.
Like,
fans would still be like, I'm still loving it.
I can imagine people with their controller, like, they see the scene go black to, like, go to a different scene. They pick up the controller. All right, do I get to play now? Oh, no, okay.
Oh,
do I get to
an interesting...
No, I don't get to play now.
An interesting note that the author of this article wrote, and I'm on Forbes right now, is the article was written by one Eric Kane. He says the campaign appears to focus on the untold soldier's story. I imagine this means that you'll play as a regular fighter rather than a hero. In other words, don't expect to play as a Jedi Knight or Chewbacca in the campaign. I think that's a load of horse shit. You can still follow a character and have side missions where you get to play as a hero. Like, the 501st missions, you followed a soldier in the 501st, but you would still get points where it's like, oh, you've unlocked the ability to have this hero join the battle. Yeah. And you can control the hero. Your character is still on the battlefield, but now you're stepping into the shoes of the hero for a moment. It looks like we're going to be getting more films spanning in the game. So we're going to be seeing, like, in the trailer, there's a face-off with Darth Maul and Yoda. If you pre-order, you get...
Which Maul has died, I believe, 3 times now.
Yeah. Yeah, he does that.
He was literally cut in half in episode 1. He was killed by the Emperor in Clone Wars. And then he was killed again by Obi-Wan Kenobi in Rebels.
Okay, so... Spoilers.
Man, you just can't stay dead.
Well, okay, so in the first one, obviously they meant for him to be dead, but they retcon it into, yes, he was cut in half, but he was, like, through sheer force of hate, is how they describe it, he kept himself alive.
He was insane during Clone Wars.
Oh, absolutely.
Literally.
He was insane.
Like, in 2... Like, I can classify it as schizophrenia.
I believe you. In 2. In Clone Wars, he does get fucked up by the Emperor, but by the Emperor's language, it sounds like he's just going to torture him and then try and bend him to a purpose. Is how I took the end of that scene. That's how I interpreted it. Mm-hmm. And then, yeah, in 3 he gets killed. Or not in 3, in Rebels.
He's really bad at dying.
Yeah, he's not good at it. He sucks at dying. Pre-order customers are going to get content from The Last Jedi. There's going to be an offline skirmish option that lets you play, it says, in various modes of various difficulty settings against bots. Rumors of 4K optimization. Look for the game at around winter holiday season. Me and S-Book both agreed about probably November, I think you said.
It's going to be late November, because they're going to want to capitalize on 2 things. They're going to want to capitalize on the new movie coming out, obviously with the pre-order, which comes out December 15th. And they want to capitalize on the holiday season, because that's a huge time for games. So it's probably going to be late November, early December, would be my bet.
Just brought up a good point that he'll come back as a Force Ghost. No, he won't, because he never mastered that technique.
That's true. They did retcon that as well. If you in order to become a Force Ghost, you have to master that technique in life. Star Wars.
My thing, and it's EA, so I don't have much hope for them not doing this. I'm hoping they don't have over $120 of DLC attached to it.
They will.
Nope, it's going to be
I know they will.
$145 of DLC attached to it.
Yay.
Because games have to make money somehow.
Yeah. I mean, to be fair, a lot of it was just like skins and shit, but it's just like, you know, Overwatch makes a ton of money, and they really don't have you buy anything. They just give you the extra stuff.
Okay, I kind of want to go into, like, the whole argument right here is squeaking, like, why is Anakin one? Because he probably found it as Darth Vader. Like, he plundered Jedi and Sith ruins, learning everything he can as Darth Vader. Like, it's not shown on screen, but I assume that's canon. I can only assume. And that probably will be shown on screen later. Because I believe in Rebels, he does go... Yeah, he does show up at the Sith Temple in Rebels, all on his own.
Because he was the chosen one, that's why. I don't know.
Also, yeah, there was an episode in Clone Wars where Anakin does meet both the epitome of the light side and the epitome of the dark side of the Force.
Mm-hmm.
That's very true. He also met the balance, and the dark side one showed him what he would become, and he almost was like, I guess I'll just succumb to the dark because it's going to happen anyway. And then they wiped it from his mind.
Yeah.
Maul
was insane for 20 years. Led the Mandalorians, and then he went on a rampage to try and find Obi-Wan for another 20 years.
Yep. He's pretty. You gotta admire his diligence. He's too stubborn to die, and he really wants to kill Obi-Wan.
Yeah.
Well, no, he's too late for that.
Yeah. I hate to tell you, buddy.
Unfortunately, Obi-Wan's a lot better at dying than you are.
Yeah. Oh, A+. One shot. Really, he did it himself.
Yeah.
Yeah, he did.
He did it through, and no joke, magic sublimation.
It's
All right.
true.
We should probably wrap this up.
All right,
Okay.
so we're going to start wrapping up. One more big announcement. Tomorrow, actually going on right now, is VRLA. That is the Virtual Reality LA Expo over at the Los Angeles Convention Center, where they're showing off all kinds of different virtual reality equipment. Not just video games, but things to help in daily lives, things to make VR tools to make music, make movies, even interior design. I got an email from someone offering to show us that. We are going to be there, and by we, I mean myself, Kuma, and Eric from the Gathering podcast, as well as Drinking Dragons. We're going to be there tomorrow. I'm getting there probably at around 10. Eric's not going to be there until around or after 12, which means I'm driving there alone, which is terrifying because I've never driven to LA by myself, and my car's acting funny. So I'm terrified.
Wait, does your car tell good jokes?
Not really. I actually get heart attacks more when it starts being funny. So it's not a great comedian.
Okay.
But we're going to be there. We are going to be having some meetings with a few people there to check out some of what people are doing. I know we're going to be seeing a Now You See Me inspired hidden object game. We're going to be seeing another game, which I'm going to not talk about until we actually release the stuff. So that's hopefully going to be a lot of fun. We're going to be shooting video. I'm going to be taking notes for articles. I'm hoping to get a lot of great content out of it. So if you're going to be at VRLA tomorrow, look for me there. Look for the beard. You'll know the beard.
Is not coming out until Wednesday in video format.
That's true. We are streaming it, though. We're streaming right now to 2 people. So to those 2 people, who are probably us and Squeaky,
Yes.
we'll see you there. No, but yeah, even to the people who just watch this as the VOD and not the stream, if you saw us there, awesome. Hi. If not, make sure to check everything out. Make sure to check out the site. We're gonna have stuff on there, hopefully. But before we end, any other quick news bits we want to talk about or bring up?
I think nothing that's really video game related. It's been a pretty big week in video games, but I think like the Star Wars 40th is overtaking everything. Even though that has nothing to do with video games, really. I'm just saying.
You are a wound in the Force, and Kree is using you to try and kill the Force.
What?
You heard him.
Okay.
You are a wound in the Force, and Kree is trying to use you to kill the Force. I just spoiled the second Knights of the Old Republic game.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Let's wrap this shit up. All right, so thank you everybody so much for tuning in. For all your gamer culture needs, follow us on Facebook, Twitter, Twitch TV, and thegrandgeekgathering.com. This show is brought to you by the Grand Geek Gathering Network. Don't forget to subscribe, rate, and review us. Special thanks to the band Alex and Alex for the use of their song Glam Jam. Don't forget to join the gathering. Stay cultured. Have a great week. And GGG!